Hello, everyone. Welcome along to the F1 show. This evening, I'm joined by Charlie Tolhurst. Charlie, first of all, we start off with how are you doing this week, Charlie?
Oh, I'm buzzing, Jack. I'm buzzing and raring to go.
So we start off with some of the news we received earlier today, Charlie. Some quite promising and some very, very exciting news that we received earlier today. The 2021 British Grand Prix will take place in front of a full British crowd, Charlie. How good does that sound?
Jack, can I say this is the getting back to normality for Formula One? Oh my God, this is probably going to be the biggest crowd we've seen in at a Formula One race since 2019. I am not joking. This event is a pilot event by the sounds of it. I'm not sure the capacity. I think I've been hearing it was over 300,000 people.
Charlie, I'm just going to put someone's comment on screen now. Oh, he's buzzing. Yes, he is very much buzzing. Charlie is really excited for this, as you can tell. Yeah, it's going to be a great event, isn't it, Charlie? To see 145,000 fans there.
Wow.
All British, of course, because of COVID regulations. If you're Lewis Hamilton, he stated today, Charlie, in the press conference that he's very excited to see fans back, but he does also have a little bit of concern. Do you see the concerning side of it, or are you just delighted that we have fans?
I suppose Hamilton will be a bit concerned, but let's face it, I know he's had COVID last year, but I think Hamilton wants to get Formula One back to normal. He wants people to sort of at Silverstone sit by the grandstand near the international pit straight, looking at the straight named after him and say he can win this race.
Water Guy said, I think that's your name, Water Guy. I'm so excited. Yeah, I think the reaction from social media is that everyone is very excited for this, Charlie.
They are. This will be the biggest. I think it's going to be the biggest crowd at a race for Formula One this season, I think.
And we do have a limited capacity at this weekend's Styrian Grand Prix, and we do have a full capacity at the weekend after's Austrian Grand Prix. That'd be the first full capacity event that F1 has held since the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2019. That seems a long time ago, doesn't it, Johnny? The 2019
yes,
Abu Dhabi
we have some
Grand
news
Prix.
on Abu Dhabi, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. There's been some track modifications.
Yeah, we'll talk about that now, actually, Charlie. The chicane, was it turn 5, 6, and the 7 hairpin that's been ditched? That will just be one long hairpin now, and we're going to have an addition of a bank corner as well, Charlie, like Abbey Longstaff and Hugenholtz at Sandford.
Yes, I heard about this. This is going to be a complete overhaul of the circuit. It's the first time since 2009 this has happened, and I've seen the track map, and it actually looks quite interesting.
What the circuit needed changes though, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a nightmare, especially the final sector. You just after turn 10 or turn 11, you're just in dirty air for the rest of the lap.
And they've made some of the apexes wider at that quick section, that turn 10, 11, 12 section as well, which will make it much more fast flowing, overtaking to be slightly easier as well. If we potentially see a season finale and a title showdown there, it could really make for a very interesting race, couldn't it?
Yes, Jack, as well. And I've just seen some changes as well. It looks like to me they've removed the chicanes after turn 10, I think it is.
Yeah, I think they have actually. I'm just going to see if I can try and get a picture of it now to try and show some of you guys.
Removing all 4 sharp corners, turns 11, 12, 13, 14 to be replaced by one long bank section.
Yeah, it's going to be replaced by a long... I'm just trying to find it now. I can't quite... Here we go. That's probably the best one. Let me open it for you. No, save it. Is it going to open? Yeah, it is. Right, let me share screen.
Just to confirm, this is for this year's event. Just to clarify to all the listeners out there, that's for the 2021.
Yeah, so
Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
As you can see there, Charlie, over here, the chicane's gone, and it's going to be a hairpin, a slightly wider hairpin. Then that straight there will remain the same. You have that little chicane there. This is the big change here, Charlie. we can see where all the circled areas, that is where the change is. But this is the big change. This will be a bank corner, like Hugenholtz. And then you've got these two corners here will remain the same. This apex here will be slightly wider. So will this apex. So will this apex, Johnny. As you can see, this corner will be taken at a much higher speed. So that is the that's the new track layout that we've been seeing. What do you?
Go on.
How do you think? Would it improve overtaking massively or just slightly? Do you think?
I think it will improve slightly. I don't know about massively, but I think looking at the track, it's going to be interesting. Into turn 10, that is going to be very fast with the DRS wide open.
Yeah, someone put turn 10. That's awful. Are you talking about the bank corner? I think you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't see how they could have DRS through that because of safety.
No, they wouldn't put DRS. I think they'll put the DRS into it, I should imagine.
But you know what? They're trying something new. I like the fact that they're trying something new. Obviously, we don't know, do we, until we get to Abu Dhabi on the 12th to 14th of December this year.
Blimey, wow, is that how late the race is? I didn't even know it was that late. Wow, it's going to be another Christmas cracker, I think, for Formula One fans.
It could be. It could well be. Anyway, let's get on to talking about this weekend, Charlie. We saw clouds around Paul Ricard, didn't we? But it never threatened to absolutely bucket it down, did it, at points? This weekend, however, the forecast does look slightly different. Well, I say slightly different. I mean quite a bit different. We could potentially see an Imola-style race. Someone, but I like your Minions poster, Charlie. Charlie, you got Minions poster.
Sorry about that. My bedroom is literally full of posters. Unfortunately, I do apologise. I need to take a lot of them down, and I have got a Lewis Hamilton poster literally just behind me. I don't want to start going into.
At least it's got someone laughing, Charlie. Yeah. Me too, Waterboy. What does that mean? Me too, Waterboy. I don't know. But yeah,
let's get back on with the show now.
We'll get on to comments. Fine, yeah. I mean, Charlie, could you maybe put your Lewis Hamilton poster up for next week? Maybe.
Yeah, certainly. I think the thing is though, Jack, this race he got pole last year by over 1.2 seconds. I think if it rains again this weekend, I think Mercedes he could be in for a very interesting qualifying. That's all I'm going to say.
Could the wet master strike again?
Potentially.
Who knows? The king of the ring is Marc Marquez from MotoGP, saying at the Saxon Ring. Lewis Hamilton could potentially steal that crown if he wins this weekend in Austria or Styria, Steinmark, as they call it in the local regions. It's a very hilly up down. It's in the mountains. It's very high altitude. It's a circuit, Charlie, that's very challenging, isn't it?
It is very, very challenging. In fact, just as I said, challenging, I am now going to get the track map up for you right now. Here it is.
And also, Johnny, you see at that turn 6-7 section, it used to be a sausage curb on the exit of that. That's now gravel.
Wow, interesting.
They've taken away that sausage curb and they've made it gravel. It could potentially solve the track limits issue, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think it really could, actually. I think it'll be a big, big change for Formula One.
And I actually quite like the gravel. Actually, I think like it. Oh no, I don't want to kick you, Charlie. Why would I do that? I think it adds, doesn't it, to the excitement of the racing. Drivers go off and they get punished. Circuits like Abu Dhabi, they go off, they come back on, and nothing's happened apart from they've lost a few seconds and maybe a few places. It properly punishes them. They get beached, they go into the barriers. Talking about barriers, they have added a new barrier at Austria from that on the exit of turn 2 to turn 3. there's a big crash in motorbikes, I think, there last year.
Yeah, well,
They were going to remove it for the Formula One weekend. They've decided to keep it, Charlie, because obviously the same incident could happen in Formula One cars as well.
Yeah, I think it's safety is number one priority for Formula One.
But if you go off at turn 2, it's a hefty whack wherever you hit, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, let's get on with the track map now. Let's have a look at this circuit in Austria.
Yes, let me just add it back. There we go. It's the Lauda curve, Charlie. That's where the Lauda curve and turn 3 is where the majority of the overtaking is going to be, isn't it?
Yes, as well. So just to give up to listeners, basically what happened. So you come out of down the pit straight, first DRS zone into turn 1. That is named after, by the way, 3-time world champion Niki Lauda. That is where most of the action will happen. You've then got the run up into turn 3, which is the second DRS zone on the circuit. The third one will be placed on the exit of turn 10, running into turn 1. Actually, no, sorry, I forgot to say turn 3 into turn 4. That's where the second DRS zone is.
All right, Charlie, we're going to come back to that in a minute. Someone's asked, sausage, gravel, I'm confused. Can you please explain? Yeah, so sausage curb is originally what was there. It's like a yellow bump, isn't it? What's the best way to describe a sausage curb, Charlie? Like a yellow...
Yeah, yellow bump, yellow curb. A high yellow curb is what I'd call it.
You know, like the speed bumps that you go over, that painted yellow on the exit of the corner, that's the best way to describe it. Instead, they've got rid of that and they've replaced it with gravel. So if you go off, obviously, like you go into the gravel, the sausage curb damaged the cars. That's the safety issue there. The sausage curb damaged the cars, which caused debris on the track, where we did see punctures at circuits like Silverstone. If you remember, we had a lot of punctures. I think
2013.
Four indeed, Charlie, last year at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. Someone else put, no, I'd say the race is pretty important, not safety. Yeah, I do have to agree to you, but equally, we do need some element of safety in the sport. Because obviously, like, you know, we saw it last year, Bahrain Grand Prix, sorry, that the scary accidents, they're very rare, but they do happen from time to time. And it's inevitable. At least once in the season, I think you would get at least one scary accident, wouldn't you? At least one in the season, Charlie. It's just when is that accident going to come? And we have to take all the precautions to stop that accident from coming. And the big crashes, we learn from them. They have to happen to learn from them. Unfortunately, that's just how we learn in motorsport. The big crashes, they have to happen. We learn from them. The Romain Grosjean crash, we've learned so much from it in terms of safety. Why did the car split in two? Why did the fuel come out? That's all been improved for this year, Charlie. If that crash had not have happened, we wouldn't have known, would we?
No, and certainly I would have said the same about Senna's 94 crash at Imola as well. You think about the way Senna went into the barrier. If we learned so much that the cars were changed. Going into 95, why they were changed because of Senna's crash. The safety of Formula One has improved so much since that day.
Who's Joe? Joe. Did you mention Joe, Charlie? I don't remember mentioning a guy called Joe.
I'm not sure.
Sausage. I like a sausage. Yeah, I like a sausage too on a barbecue, especially, but not on the side of a racetrack, unfortunately. And talking of barbecues, Charlie, the atmosphere at Austria with the fans is always amazing. It's always an amazing event. The barbecues are always Joe Mama. Is it a joke? I'm guessing it's a joke. But the barbecues, Charlie, they're always out. The Orange Army, which is normally there, won't be there this year, of course, due to travel restrictions.
The Austrian. I'll just call it the Austrian Army this week.
The Austrian Army, that's a good name, or the Steinmark Army, they call themselves locally, Charlie. We've seen plenty of action down the years, plenty of action, plenty of safety cars. Don't rule out a safety car this weekend.
I wouldn't. I think last year's race. I mean, not the Styrian. I'm going to the Austrian Grand Prix. You just look at how many safety cars we had last year, and I think we had a good couple. I remember, and it like helped Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Who started well down the field.
Yeah, I think we had 4 safety cars over 2 race weekends, didn't we, at Austria last year, sorry.
Yeah, I think we did actually. Yeah, I remember that was the season opener last year as well, believe it or not, in 2020 because of the pandemic.
It was, Charlie. Now let's rewind 1 week. We go back to Paul Ricard. In Paul Ricard standards, Charlie, it was quite an entertaining race, wasn't it?
Yes, and I'll explain because I actually watched the highlights and I saw what happened for Max Verstappen. A fantastic drive from him. And I'll tell you what, Jack, was it Hungary 2019 that Red Bull copied from Mercedes? It was. Verstappen done the 2-stop. They left Perez out on a 1-stop, tried to drag his tyres out, and Red Bull managed to finish 3rd and 3rd respectively.
Thing is, Charlie, Mercedes say they were going to do the 2-stop, but because Sergio Perez was just in the right place at the right time for Red Bull, prevented them from doing it. That enabled Red Bull to do it. If Verstappen could clear Valtteri Bottas quickly, it was always going to be likely that he would overtake Lewis Hamilton. He left it late though, didn't he, Charlie? Penultimate lap.
Yeah, it was. It was a late move, but Verstappen winning for Red Bull, and definitely a huge win for Verstappen. It's his 3rd of the year, I think, isn't it, as well?
It is, Charlie, and it's a win that takes him 12 points clear of the 7-time world champion. That could all change, of course, this weekend. But who was your best of the rest, Charlie, for the French Grand Prix?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I have to look. I've got a couple of nominations. Lando, I'm going to say potentially Lando Norris. I think he done well. Fernando Alonso, though, I think finished 8th. I think. Well, I don't know where. I think top 10. I think
he had a strong showing, didn't he?
And yeah, I'd say Alonso got the nomination. I think Alonso deserves a good nomination. Ferrari, though, were all awful last week. They just could not manage the tyres. I think Sainz was 11th. And Leclerc down in 16th. I mean, that's crazy.
Isn't there a driver joining called Candice? Not that I've heard. I haven't received that news. I don't think there is. Maybe you're talking about Formula 2 or Formula 3. I think there's a driver called Candice joining, but not in Formula 1. But yeah, good question. Keep them coming. We like the questions. It's Lewis Hamilton, Charlie, is announced today. He started his contract negotiations. I would say it's pretty obvious he's going to choose to stay at Mercedes next year.
Valtteri Bottas, don't know about him though. That's who we're going to be keeping an eye on at the moment. But Hamilton looks to be doing probably another year at the team at least.
Could he get the boot at Hungary?
Well, but I've been Bottas potentially. I mean, Bottas is an interesting one because he's had an awful start to the season. I just don't think Toto Wolff is going to want him there unless he turns his results around.
Yeah. Do you like the band the band Imagine Dragons? I haven't actually heard of those. I'll research them up and I'll let you know next Thursday whether I like them or not. But I'll research them up tonight. Promise. I'll make a promise there. But yeah, it's George Russell would be the favourite to come in for Valtteri, wouldn't he? If
think about it, all British team. It'd be an all British team if Russell joined as well, which would be quite interesting. And
he could give Lewis a challenge, couldn't he?
He could have done well last year against Bottas. Bottas was struggling against Russell. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Russell was really strong in Sakir last year.
He does seem to be really struggling at the moment, doesn't he, Bottas? He hasn't had a race win since Sochi, I think. Was it Sochi he won?
Yes.
Yeah, he won.
It wasn't. Yeah, a long time.
That was the last time he won. He's been on a terrible run, Charlie. Only one podium in 8 races. That was at Bahrain, round 1. if you're Valtteri, how do you get yourself back from this difficult period?
I don't know. Like he's got to regroup. He's mentally got to start thinking about his composure. He's got to rethink things because he's struggling to get to grips. I mean, Jack, is it the W12? Is he struggling to get to drive the car? He's struggling to get the correct balance with it, I think.
I don't know, Charlie. Have they, mate? I'd be surprised if
they did swap chassis last week, I believe, both drivers.
Yeah, both drivers had a chassis change. I would be surprised if they've built that car for Lewis. I heard that there might be a new sponsor called D's. Should we expect anything from this? Should we? No, I don't think we should. I have heard that though. That there is a new sponsor coming to Formula One. I don't think we should expect anything apart from new advertising stickers around the racetrack, which might be nice to see because those Pirelli stickers, Charlie, are getting a bit old now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're getting a bit dated, I think.
We could do with some new ones along the pit straight.
Yeah, certainly. I think they look like they're seeing better days.
yeah. I think that is true. These could be coming to Formula One in 2022. Whilst we're on, well, we're not going to get too political here, Charlie, but the flexi wings, they are banned now. They are banned. Red Bull have been banned from using them by the FIA. What is your, I don't know, viewers, you can let me know your views on the flexi wings.
Oh, this is a big one.
From what I've seen, Charlie, I've looked at the footage, I've analysed it. The Mercedes front wing is flexing just as much as the Red Bull rear wing, and I haven't taken the Mercedes front wing away. I
don't understand this. I mean, Red Bull, I think Toto Wolff and Christian Horner, I like this. These two seem to be like having bragging rights over this. I don't know. I mean, Mercedes front wing clearly needs to be sorted out if it's flexing more than a 2 centimeters requirement.
Are you a Coke or a Pepsi man? Charlie, what are you? I'm a Coke man, definitely.
Coke.
I think Charlie said Coke, but he just broke up. Yeah, he's really breaking up.
I'm breaking up all the time. But yeah, I think the Mercedes clearly does. When you look at the flexi wing on the Mercedes, it does flex like a Coke or like a Pepsi a little bit. It just seems like the diet. You know when the Diet Coke's like frothing out at the top. That's what the Mercedes front wing is like.
It does, Charlie. And interestingly, Cristiano Ronaldo in a football press conference removed the Coke bottles. Charlie, he took them away. He hid them. Yeah, I think there was more something that he didn't like about Coke than that he just wanted to move them away. But we don't advertise Coke in Formula One. Dr. Pepper. Yeah. I think Mercedes are good. Yeah. I have to say to you, the past 7 years, they have been... I'm not really a Formula One fan, prefer Mario Kart, but each to their own. Mario Kart's a good game, isn't it, Charlie? One of those old-fashioned Wii games that everyone likes, a good bit of Mario Kart.
Yeah. Send us your questions in if you like all this kind of stuff. We'll debate it.
We will debate it. Who's your favourite Mario Kart character, Charlie? Mario,
Luigi. I used to love him. Yeah,
you used to love Luigi, did you?
Yeah.
I used to love I tell you, I used to love Donkey Kong. Is that his name? Donkey Kong?
Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah. I used to like him on the mushroom race, Charlie. That was the best track, the mushroom track.
Formula One good drivers probably raced on that before they hop in the car, I reckon, or something.
I like the black one. Yeah, that's a good one as well, actually. But could you imagine, Charlie, Formula One cars on Mushroom Gorge?
That'd be impossible.
It would be absolute chaos, wouldn't it? They'd be falling left, right, and centre off the mushrooms.
I think they will. Let's get back to the action now. We go well off.
We will. What were we talking about? I've forgotten now.
Flexi wings.
We were talking about flexi wings. That's right. Yeah. Mercedes state that the Red Bull the wing moves more than 2 inches. That is the allocated. If you like Motion Gorge, we can't. I don't think we can say that word actually.
No, we're not. No, we're not going to repeat that.
But yeah, it was Motion Gorge was hard. I liked the challenge, but my favourite was probably Rainbow Road or the shopping centre.
Yeah.
What are better, bikes or karts? Are you talking about it on Mario or in real life?
There's a lot of comments coming in tonight.
In Mario, I would say probably the bikes. In real life, probably go-karts are better, I think.
Yeah. Well,
would you agree, Charlie?
I think as well. I think one of the flexi wings as well, they sort of look like karts. I have to say, I think the flexi wings, Mercedes is one clearly needs to be looked at, I think, in the regulations carefully.
It does. As far as I know, they haven't banned the Mercedes flexi wing at the moment. But who knows? It's currently an ongoing debate with the FIA, Michael Massey, and all of those heads of the FIA safety departments. Please let them speak Formula One. I like that stuff. we will dedicate 5 minutes at the end to comments. We're going to speak Formula One for the next 5 minutes, though. It's interesting, isn't it? How the FIA have decided this. They've obviously got their data. They've obviously used their own their own data. They've got all the cameras that we haven't got, that we don't always see on TV. They have much more data, the FIA, than what we do, don't they, Charlie?
Yeah, they definitely do. I think as well, Jack, they did do some thorough investigations on these wings. And I think when you look at the tests, I think it's clear that the FIA has said, right, we've had enough of them. Let's ban them for the Styrian Grand Prix onwards.
Yeah, that is what we've obviously heard. I believe that is what's going to happen tomorrow at FP1. There will be no flexi wings for Red Bull. However, Mercedes could use their flexi front wing because that hasn't been banned yet.
Will Mercedes be done for it? We just don't know. We'll keep you updated on it all.
I like Lewis Hamilton. He's my favourite. Yeah, I'm not I don't really support any driver. I just support the sport as a whole. But I have to say, I would love to see Lewis get that 8th world title.
I think as well, Jack, when we're going to just move on now before we wrap this up to something. We're going to move on to just a preview of this weekend's race in the Styrian Grand Prix. And all I can say is the track has been around, I think, since the 1970s. I'm just going to get up now when the Red Bull Ring was actually first around in terms of holding a race. Let me just get that up now for you guys. It was 1970, I believe, the first race was there. Last race was in 1987 on the Oostenrijk Ring circuit. You remember that race? A race, I think, where Nigel Mansell actually, I think, won after stalling at the start as well.
He did, Charlie, and we obviously had that long break from the Red Bull Ring. We returned in 2014, where Williams took a surprise front row lockout that year. It's one of Williams' stronger tracks. Is there a chance, Charlie? We've seen Mr. Saturday, George Russell, been scraping, just missing out of Q3. Is there potentially a chance this Saturday we could see Mr. Saturday in the final shootout?
I could be surprised. He finished 12th in France. He looks so good. I don't understand why Nicolas Latifi's struggling, because Russell is in that car driving really well. And I really think if it rains this weekend, if it rains or is dry, I think Williams are in for a big shot at a top 10 this weekend. I don't know, but I think he could get close.
Right, it's typical, isn't it, for Williams to have a strong weekend. Then they have a pretty down one. They can have a few down ones. Then they get strong again. They're just one of those teams that are topsy-turvy. Right, we are going to wrap this up in a few minutes, but before we go, as promised, we are going to have a debate with your comments for a few minutes. So we read out the first comments. Karts were only allowed for 50cc and 150cc, whereas bikes were allowed for 100cc and 150cc. Bikes had the advantage of having better drifting, but maxed out at yellow boost. Karts went past yellow to blue, so they had better boost, but they could not drift as well. Yeah, they always struggled to get my karts to drift on Mario Kart. That is why I said I preferred bikes. Could you get your karts to drift on Mario Kart, Charlie?
If I had a drift button.
If you had a drift button, yeah, that would be pretty helpful. Maybe on the next Mario Kart, what we on Mario Kart 8 now, I think, on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Someone's just commented at the bottom, do you think they will ever take Formula One abroad to, I can't really pronounce that word, Sujandees? What is your opinion on the release of Formula 2? Question there.
Yeah, I think 23 races in terms of going to new countries is the max we could go to. Really, physically, it's impossible to go much more than 23.
Yeah.
We could possibly go 24 at a real push. But really 23 is the max for me.
Yeah, 23 is the max. I'm sure a lot of people will be questioning about the game as well. The 2021 Formula One game will be launching on the 13th of July. So just before the British Grand Prix weekend, people can get their hands off this game.
And you can now pre-order it on Amazon UK. It is available to pre-order it. Be at your house on the 13th of July. What's your opinion on the release of Formula 2? I really like Formula 2 and Formula 3, Charlie. I think they're really good feeder series to Formula 1. They're really competitive. We get to see the full potential of those drivers there. They're doing 3 races a weekend. What is it? 7-8 rounds a year, I think, at the moment. Yeah. I quite like the new format for Formula 2 and Formula 3, I do have to say.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? And don't forget as well, this weekend, we're not going to just have Formula 2 and Formula 3 are at Spielberg this weekend. But I think we've got the W Series going there for their first round.
They had a round at Paul Ricard, actually, Charlie.
Their second race. Do apologise. It's the second one.
That's a big thing, isn't it? W Series coming to join Formula 1. And I really support it. I really do think we need to get more women and more disabled people involved in motorsport, like Billy Munger, Charlie.
Yeah, certainly. Billy Munger, Jamie Chadwick, Alice Powell. I can name many drivers. Sophia Flörsch as well. Drivers that are coming up for these series. It's really, really important to get women into motor racing and bring the diversity together.
And what Stefano Domenicali has promised, Charlie, that by 2025, we will have a woman driver or a disabled driver in Formula 1. I think this is really, really important.
It would be, certainly for Formula 1. We need to see more people from these backgrounds going in. And I was watching something from Aston Avery earlier. One of my friends, who is a massive F1 fan as well, he's got people like him who are talking about autism. No matter what you are, you can be successful. Lewis Hamilton has dyslexia. He's a 7-time world champion. He has learning difficulties, should I say. People like that should be encouraged. You should be encouraged, no matter who you are, to take part in anything, including motor racing.
We're going to debate one more comment, then we'll have to go. What's your opinion on Demolition Derby? Crash Bang Pop, that was another one. I think that's a response. Demolition Derby, Charlie, it's Demolition Derby. The purpose is to crash, isn't it? Really, it's funny. Don't get me wrong, it is funny. I do enjoy it when I go. Fortunately, the one down the road from us has been closed, so we have to go. We have to drive a couple of hours now to get to our local banger racing track. Well, it's not really local, is it? It's 2 hours down the road. No. But yeah, whenever I'm near a banger racing track, I will go because I do enjoy it. It's good fun. It's a great family event. And it's funny, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's a great laugh.
It is, and I have to say, look at last year's Austrian Grand Prix. That was a demolition derby because only 12 cars finished the race. We think about it.
It was a bit like a demolition derby. And thing I like about demolition derby, Charlie, is once I went to Banger Racing, and this car, Charlie, actually decided it couldn't go forward, so it's going to reverse over the finish line instead. That was actually quite a funny moment if you were there in real time. But anyway, we're going to have to wrap this stream up now. Don't forget to join us for qualifying for the Styrian Grand Prix on Saturday at 1:35. We'll give you all of the build-up. Then we'll be chatting, giving you live updates throughout the qualifying session. That's 1:35. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.